Welcome back, guys. So we are back out at the property getting some stuff done, and it is once again another beautiful day. We are looking at about 72 degrees out at the peak today, so it is absolutely beautiful. So today, we have got a few things we are going to work on. The main thing today that is our main goal is to get the walls polyurethaned and back in. So we're going to get as far as we can. I'm hoping that we can get at least one side done. I will be staying out here tonight, so I'm going to have some unpacking, and I'll be here until tomorrow. I hopefully won't have to rush home too quick tomorrow, but I am a little late today. It's about 12:30. I had to drop off my boy for school. It's Monday, but I needed to get out here. It is too beautiful. In the next week or so, it looks like we are forecasted for a lot of spring showers. So let's see what we got going on. All right, so we are back inside. Just an update of where we are at. We have got our walls for the bedroom in. They are all up, and so what the plan is today is we are going to be taking these panels off here. Haven't quite decided if I'm going to start with this left wall or start with this right wall. I guess it really doesn't matter too much, other than the fact that if I start on this one, I'm going to have to do some cleaning first and rearranging. So we will probably start over here, pulling off these panels and getting them set up on the trailer. I've got an idea that hopefully works out nicely for a good solid working environment. So the plan is to use this trailer. I believe it's 14 or 16 feet long, but it is going to be a little bit wide for the panels. So what we are going to do, we picked up some full length 8-foot 2x4s, and we are going to lay them across this way, put a panel down and work on it on top, move to the next and to the next, all the way down. Now, considering I'm a big old boy at 350 pounds, I'm going to have to hook this thing up to the Lexus so that I don't turn this into a seesaw, because as soon as I get to the back, it will lift up and then our boards will be going everywhere. So let's get this set up and hooked up and see what it all looks like. Right, well, this is the setup. Move the trailer around. I figured since I'm going to be hooking this thing up, I might as well bring it over right in front of my door. So got it set up, hooked up, and this is the plan. I'll throw up 2 boards crossing it. It doesn't leave a whole lot of extra, but it's not going to be a buck and bronco. All I'm doing is wiping down and painting. So we've got 2 boards set up, and we'll adjust them to the width that we need. Put a board out. First thing we are going to do is we are going to be using our microfiber rags with just a little tiny bit of water just to knock all of the dust off, and then we will be moving on to the next one while that dries, and we'll go through all 4 from one side at one time. I brought 8 fresh 2x4x8s so that I can set this up. Hopefully everything goes smooth. So let's get at it. Well, now that we got that set up, all of our left side wall is on our trailer. The only thing that's the issue right now is it worked perfectly fine for cleaning and placing, but this setup makes it mighty difficult for painting. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to work around this. This first panel I can easily access from this side here and paint this entire thing, no issue. The second one, it's a lot of panel, but I think I could paint it from one side. I am quite long, but that is quite a bit of panel. And if I could do that one, I believe that one is an entire 48 inch. If I could do that one, I can do that. That's a 36 and that's a 44. So we're gonna try and do this one. No, we're gonna do this one while it's sitting there. This one we are going to leave here. And then these two, I think I need to stack and maybe slide slightly off the edge so I can walk around it so that I can access this side, lean over and paint on across this way. And then if that works, then I know I can slide this back up, paint that one, and slide that one back, and then from the end paint over there. So first thing I need to do is take a break because that was a bit of work. So I'm going to take well, after a little thought, I think I figured it out. So if you notice, the orientation of the boards is slightly different. We moved the smaller one in towards the center, the large one over towards the side. Now this is something I am worried about. We got pine needles falling from the sky. Of course, that's just going to be nature's touch on my finish. So good thing it's just a cabin and not some luxury home. But after sitting here taking a little break, enjoying the beautiful day, I have come to the conclusion that it is going to be easiest to paint from the edge of the trailer. So being as tall as I am, if you see here, I've got it hanging over the edge. This is going to be easy access for me, and that is the reason that this is also here on the edge. I moved it right to the edge. It's going to be super easy to paint hanging off of the side of here. So we have got our setup here. We have our polyurethane, Varathane Ultimate Polyurethane, water-based, and in the satin finish. I am not... right, guys. Well, we have done 2 boards. I know that's not the way we planned it, but it was a bit more work than I thought it was going to be. But I went ahead and did 2 coats with it, as bright as it is out here. And warm, it's probably up to about 74 out here. It has warmed up that within 20-30 minutes it's quite dry. So now I did forget one piece of equipment that makes this job a bit easier is a paper bag. After the first coat, it's good to just hit this with a super light sandpaper, and a paper bag works phenomenal for this. Forgot to bring one, but I did have a piece of cardboard, and turns out cardboard works just as good. So it literally, whenever you get your coat on there, you've got a little fuzz on the surface, and so you just get that cardboard, a couple swipes, and it takes all of those little fuzz bits down, and then came back and hit it with the second coat. I was a little concerned because there was some splotchiness in a few areas, but it looks like it cleared up and evened out quite nicely. So that is the back wall. Obviously that is the window cutout right over there, and then we'll go, this is our front left. The one, this is where the front is, and then the outlet, and then the bed's back there. So, and same thing on this one, did a coat. This coat actually came out a little bit more even, and then hit it with the cardboard and hit it with one more coat, and we are good. So we're going to get those 2 off. As you can see, it does darken it up quite nicely. I would have liked to stain, but cabinet grade birch does not take a stain well and gets kind of blotchy. All right, we are making progress. First coat down on this next set here. This is one of the 36-inch, or I don't know, 35 and 7/8, something like that. And we've got the other back. I did change up the strategy a little bit. As you can tell, we still have some of the other pieces left, and I only did part of one side. What I decided to do is I am going to do the back wall and get it up, and then the sides afterwards. So got the left side done, as you can see there. I think it looks so much better. For it not to be a stain and just to coat it, it looks so much better. Grain pops nicely. It's got a little bit of sheen to it, so I think that might help brighten it up a little bit in here, considering the black ceiling. But I have got 2 pieces back in. I did swap out the foam board on the floor. The other one was getting tore up, and it's pretty close to snug with the bottom of that board. I did make some markers, well, tape marks. This is where the studs are on this wall. So it's an unorthodox spacing on here. So I wanted to go ahead and mark them, the ones that I can't see. So now if you see there, this ceiling joist connects to this stud. And all of these down the side, as you can tell, is about right in the center of the stud. Give or take a tiny bit, but they're all in the center. All the way down through the whole rest of the cabin, and also on this side. But over here, the spacing is a little off, and then also the first one here. I put that one in here just so that there was a support, something to screw to on the end. So I have got that up, and that's just so I know once I get ready to secure this to the wall, I know exactly those green tapes are in the center of a 2x4. So if you notice here, It's in the center. So as long as I'm hitting somewhere in the middle of that tape line, then I know that I am good. So we're making progress. Like I said, we changed up the plans a little bit, but I think this will work just fine. So 2 coats. Those boards are done. I am not doing the backs like I thought I was going to do. This is quite a bit more effort than I thought it was, and I'm still just about halfway done. So it's about 4:30 in the evening, so I need to get busy. Well, it's coming together a little slower than I hoped, but it is coming. Got both back panels up, screwed into place, and they look phenomenal. I love that color. That one up. And so next I'm going to be working on this piece and this piece. I'm kind of dreading this last 48, so we're putting that off for now, but it is almost 6 o'clock, so I'm hoping we can get this finished up before it gets dark. If you turn the board sideways, you get more on the side. So I can actually use less 2x4s and have a more paintable surface area like this, because I can clearly reach all the way across this. That's a 36-inch piece. So we have got 2 more pieces lined up. I found that it looks like 2 pieces is kind of my limit, where I can put down a good coat, move to the next one, put down a good coat there. By the time I get done with that, we are practically dry on this side, and I don't know if it's just because of how warm it is out here. It's in the mid 70s, but I can come back over here, knock this down with the cardboard, come back, knock this down, sit down, take me about a 5-10 minute break, and paint it again. All we're doing right now is we're wiping down with just a microfiber cloth that's slightly damp, just to pick up any of the leftover sawdust so it doesn't get balled up in the polyurethane. It is 8 o'clock and I am done for today. We got 2 pieces left. These both have 1 coat of polyurethane on. They need to sit, and it's cooling down outside, so it's taking a little longer to dry, but I wanted to get 1 coat on there. Just there we go. We have got the back wall up, 2 coats on there. Left wall, 2 coats on there. Also there. So all we're missing is these 2 pieces right here. I absolutely love the way this looks. Got just a little bit of sheen to it, but it's got that protective coat on there. It's not perfectly smooth. I'd say it's about as smooth as cardboard. So got a little bit of texture to it, but I wasn't going for walls that you can just walk around and rub your face on. So this will do perfectly fine. And like I said, I just love the way this color turned out without doing any stain, just clearing this stuff and giving it that little bit of satin sheen. So that is it for tonight. As you can tell, it is dark outside. It is 8 o'clock, and so I am wrapping up for tonight. Got my fans going and my power bank up and running. So we got plenty of power. Tomorrow we will go out, get those 2 sheets done, and then we will make a template for our screws and hopefully get all of our panels oriented exactly where we want them, screwed down, and be completely finished with the walls. So that is it for tonight. I'll catch you guys in the morning. Good morning, guys. So we are back the next morning. It's about 9:30. I've been busy working. I've already started on putting the screws. I made me a template and set up all of our everything for our final install of the panels. I've already been working on the last 2 panels just so that we could get those up while I was waiting on the temperatures to come up a little bit this morning. It was about 48 degrees out here, and I know that with the polyurethane, I think you're supposed to apply it above 50 or 55 degrees. So wanted to give it a little bit of time to warm up this morning. I think it's probably in the upper 50s to 60s right now. So we are going to go ahead and get everything back out. The only thing we actually have left to polyurethane is going to be the 2 panels that I left from last night. I actually decided to throw on 1 coat before I went in, and so this morning I'm going to get those sanded down with the cardboard, ready for another coat. But I'm also going to go ahead and coat 2 of the shelves that I'm going to be putting up. So got some work cut out for us today. Like I said, it's about 9:30. I might go and grab some breakfast in a bit, but let's get to it. All right, so we have got our second coat on both of these pieces. This is the 48-inch for the right side, and this is the half wall on the right side. Both of these have been double coated with the polyurethane, second coat on after I did the sanding with the cardboard. Everything's turning out great. These 2 down here, just to show you what I'm doing, these are the 2 shelves that are going to go in the back. Can't remember exactly how wide this is. I believe it's about 23.5. This will go on the right side, and that one is right at 12 inches. That is going to go on the left side. And let's go inside and see what we're working on in there. All right, so we're back inside. This is my template. Quite simple, but it's just a board with a couple of Sharpie marks on the end. So all we're doing is we'll take a measurement starting at the top, because I know where all of the studs are at the top. And I actually put in a screw already on the top where the studs are. I had made a marker with tape, but now I've got screws in up there. So we started with that, and then going off of that dot, I put in a screw, and that top one doesn't need to be exact because there will be trim going over that, so I'm not too concerned that that's a little off. But we did spacing every 18 inches. Got there, 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 and all the way to the bottom. The bottom one's, I think, a little bit shorter, but close enough. Now I will show you, I've already put them in on this wall just to kind of see. We've got one up there. And like I said, this color worked out phenomenal. It actually worked out even better with this polyurethane on it. But You can tell there's one there and there. So they blend in quite nicely, especially from, I mean, this is just about 3 feet away. It looks quite good. And so we've got them all the way down, and it's hard to even tell on some of these down there and there. I am going to wait to do the ones along the floor. I'm going to do those all at the same time. I did make dots off of the template of where they're going to go, but being as large as I am, me getting down on the ground, getting up, getting down on the ground is not a very fun or exciting, enjoyable process. So we have got these 2 walls up. The only one that I'm missing that is not on the bottom row is actually right here. So this will show you is a countersunk in. What I do is I make the dots like this all the way down, and I'll do that the entire length of the board, and then I'll use this countersink bit here. So what I do is I'll drill it in just to the countersink starts to hit the base of the wood. Let's see if I can demonstrate here. So I drill normal all the way up until the base of the countersink. I go just a tiny bit further, and then I actually put it in reverse so that I don't accidentally dig too deep in, because what my objective is to have screws that look like this, like that are just even with it, especially like this one here. You see that there is maybe the tiny bit, just the tiniest bit of depth on it, without getting super deep. I know this camera's not great at up close, but what I'm trying to avoid is what I did in the beginning, and as you can see there, I've got a little bit of extra depth on that one there and that one there. I did that on a few of them. It's not terrible, but I prefer not to do that. So like I said, what we'll do is drill through the main portion, get to the very end of where the countersink starts to bite, go just a tiny bit, and then put it in reverse, and then it kind of frictions its circle in so that I have the minimum amount of tear out on these boards. Now this polyurethane is going to help with that, but I want to keep that as clean as possible. So we are letting the polyurethane dry out there, and we are going to go ahead and continue to work inside while we are literally waiting on paint to dry. So let's get at it. So I've already made the marks on this one here. We've got these all the way down. What we're going to do is we're going to move over, and I'm going to show you how we did this. So thank goodness this is it's actually a tight fit on this side. Well, not as tight as I'd like, but it's there. So what we're going to do, still holds fairly well. We're going to take our tape measure here, and we are going to take a look, and this looks like it's about just over 1/4 inch. It's a bit hard to tell underneath here. This one's a bit harder to tell, but I can look down the line. This one actually matters a bit less than the other ones because they're, as far as being parallel with the rest of it, what matters most is that we've got a nice consistent gap all the way down this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make the gap look nice and consistent from top to bottom. And we're going to give it, I'm going to say about 1/4 inch. I'm actually going to go in a tad bit from that top screw hole. And like I said, that top screw hole doesn't matter near as much because it's going to end up getting covered with trim. So it's not perfectly in line. It's not a big deal. So I've got that pretty close to it, about 1/4 inch all the way down. What I'm going to do now is look for my dots and place a dot on the wall. Another dot there. A dot here. And down here. So we can remove this now. We've got our template. All right. So what we're going to do, all right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our bit, we're going to get right in on that hole there. We're going to go ahead and get started here. You can see we're right on the dot. And then when we get to the end, so now the countersink is just starting to touch the plywood. We're going to go just a tiny bit further. All right, so we've gone in a little bit. Now I'm going to put it in reverse. And what that's done for us is made us just a small amount of countersink. Right there, to get us in and to take some of the surface tension off of the plywood. There's going to be a little bit of surface tension once I screw the screw in, but it should sit nice and flush without crushing it too much. So let's get us a screw in there and see what it looks like. All right, so we've got us a screw. What we're going to do is I actually kind of push any of the frays into it. And then we're going to sink it right in. There's a little bit of tear out, but nothing too significant. Let me get that shadow out of the way. As you can see there, nice and flush, just a little bit of tear out. I'll hit that with some sandpaper in the end, and that'll clean that right up. So anyway, I'm going to get back to work, and let's see what we can get done while the paint's drying. All right, so what's the saying? A little caulk and paint makes me the carpenter that I ain't. Something like that. Well, these walls are up. Got from here all the way over to this panel are completely permanently in place. Every screw all the way to the floor and all the way to the ceiling. Turned out quite good. Only a couple of things that I noticed that was a flaw. This gap got quite substantial at the bottom. It's about maybe a 1/4 inch, maybe a tad over on the bottom. And we've probably got just shy of a 1/4 on top. I'm thinking what this is from the spray foam bowing out this 2x4, creating an arch, which is pushing out in the center, because from here to here we are touching, we're butted up. Gap on the bottom, gap on the top. The reason the gaps are a little uneven is because I tried to make my finishing as easy as possible. I flushed the top here, nice and flush, and then I let the, I guess you could call it run out, end up down on the bottom so that it's all on one side. So I'm gonna have to come back and just maybe hit this with a router or a planer, something just to take the edge off. I'm not taking it off, I'm just gonna take it down just to get as flush as I can, and then I'll come back and top this side. So making good progress. Those sheets are still sitting outside. Before I get ready to bring in those last 2 sheets, which are going right over here, I am going to go ahead and finish up putting a second coat on those back 2 shelves. And kind of as I said, so you could understand what's happening, I'm going to have a 1 foot wide shelf over here. And it's probably going to sit just above the screw line. The screw line is about, I don't know, 18 inches from the ceiling, and it is just above my eye level. So it's probably pretty close to 6 foot. But I'm going to do a 1 foot shelf here that runs all the way across. Like I said, these are all at the same height. So it'll be somewhere about here, and then 3/4 inch top, and then this plate should sit pretty flat on that shelf, pretty close to the bottom of the shelf. And so that'll give me a 1 foot wide shelf above the head of the bed. This is going to be the head side. And then on this side, I'm going to put a quite a bit larger, whatever the other sheet is. I think it's 23.5 inches, which will come out to about here, all the way to the wall. I'm going to make it a little bit shorter too, probably middle of the window. And what that's going to allow me to do is store larger items. You know, when I come out for a week at a time and I've got some bags, or I want to slide some boxes up there. Like I said, it's going to be somewhere in this range, probably a little bit closer to my chin, instead of up here. It'll be down here, and then there will be a power outlet up on top of that. So that'll be for larger storage. And on the other side, it'll also double as a shelf for a fan. I can put a fan, put one of these fans right over there, one of those rigid fans. I'll be able to plug it in right up there and mount it wherever I want to, and I can face it down and use it as a ceiling fan. You know, while you're down here in bed, it'll be on the other side, kind of blowing down, circulating air, all that goodness. So we are making some good progress, definitely getting a lot further than I thought. I was really underestimating, I guess, my ability to get all of this done, but I believe I am going to finish everything before I leave, as far as the walls, so that when I come back on the next trip, what we can do is get another piece of foam down. This is the only part of the cabin that I am going to insulate the floor. So we're going to put another piece of foam down, and then we're going to put plywood over the top of it, and then I'll put a threshold right here that drops down 1.5 inches right here in the opening. And so you'll step up in. This will just make this area a tiny bit more comfortable. You know, you get out of bed and it's, you know, 10-15 degrees outside. The floor won't be absolutely freezing like it will be over here. So that is the plan. So let's get back to it, and let's see what we can get done. Well, guys, we did it. I am finally finished getting the walls up in the bedroom, and it looks so good. Let me show. We are completely installed. All the screws are in. All the panels are up. And we are good to go. So this is the exciting part, because now from this point on, we get to really start to button things up. If you can tell here, this is the setup. The bed's going to be just like that. The headboard's going to be off to that side over there. We're going to have a shelf over there. We're going to have a shelf over there. So, and then also, I've got to show you, we have made these panels. So, the lighting that we're going to be using is these here. Got a little 4-pack of 6-inch lights. They are 12 watts. I think that's on full power, but there is a secondary light if you notice here, there's also a night light, which I'm really excited about. So you have the main light here, and then you have a light on the side that glows. And if I remember correctly, that's about 4 watts. So now keep in mind, this is completely off-grid. So what I am using right now to power us is just something like this. Today is our Veto Man. We're down to 33% left. I'll tell you what, these little lights right here, they work great, but they consume about 40 watts. So what I'm looking at is 3 of these at 12 watts a piece, which is 36 watts, to hopefully illuminate this entire place. Now it's not going to be super bright, but it's to the point of making it functional. If I need to, I can cut one of these on if I need to get some real brightness to work on a project or something like that. Otherwise, I believe that one here and 2 over there is going to be sufficient to keep this place lit up. But I think it turned out gorgeous. The color is just right, like a caramel color. Got just a little bit of sheen to it, so it does bring up the brightness in here just a bit. Even though the color is a little darker, it's got a bit of a reflection, so it does brighten it up just a tad. Now there are flaws. If you notice here, we got a bit of a gap down there at the bottom, probably close to almost a 1/4 inch on the bottom, and close, it has probably a 1/4 inch on the top. And then same thing back there. We got us a bit of a gap down there at the bottom. Now, that's not a huge issue. And the stuff that is all down below, you know, let's say here, is going to be, that's back there, is not going to be seen anyway. Like there's a little bit of a gap there, but the bed is going to be somewhere up in this ballpark. So there's only going to be a little bit of gap here, but all the rest of this is completely flush. On that side, a little gap, and then it opens up a tiny bit on the bottom. I believe what has happened here with all of these panels that I didn't quite account for is the fact that the foam that is in and around in the walls has probably caused this to bulge out slightly. Well, everywhere, because it is the center section here that bulges out and gets tight in here, and also the center section on that corner bulges out, which makes the bottom and the top a little wide. Same there and same here. So I'm gonna say rather my saw cutting or the width of these panels is not perfect, but I'm more likely to go on the fact that the foam just bulges the walls just a bit in the center where those 2x4s flex out, and when they flex out in this way, it creates an arch from top to bottom. So not a big deal. I am thoroughly impressed at how well this came out. Well, that is it for today. I want to thank you guys for watching, liking, subscribing. Please comment, try to get me out there, give me a little bit of traction. And I've been working a lot on upgrading my videos, working on my editing skills, and also on my video recording. I've upgraded my camera. This current camera is the Action 5 Pro by DJI. I hope everything looks clear. It looks like it's got a little bit better aspect ratio as far as being able to get inside in the enclosed space, get a good range of view without kind of blowing it out and doing a fisheye. So anyway, that's it for today. God bless you. Have a good one.